Hello YouTube, Anders reporting from a very cold Copenhagen in Denmark, and you can probably also hear that I catched a cold. So that's actually why the channel has been a little inactive in the recent weeks. It's actually because I'm extremely busy and I caught a cold and it's just cold and dark here, but nothing can warm my heart and really bring me joy as much as a new watch arriving. And I have been promising you a bunch of reviews. Of course, the Borealis Seastorm version 2 is coming up. Nice microbrand dive watch. Of course, also a full review of the Glycine Combat Sub, the red version. Actually a secret watch here, which I can show you from Spinnaker, which is being released very soon, is also up for review. And of course, this Spinnaker, the Dumas, very big and 70s inspired dive watch, is the next watch coming up for review. But actually, I was just getting a text message that my local package place had a package arriving from Paris. And I was just very excited. I had a clue what it is because it's one of the coolest microbrands, in my opinion. Maybe the best microbrand in the whole world of making kind of vintage, very warm vintage watches. So this is a very quick unboxing first impressions video of this watch, and then I'll of course be coming back with a full review. So maybe you can sense it here. It's a Baltic watch. So here we have it, a quite simple cardboard box, very nice black with gold writing. And just before we get into the watch, Baltic Watches is a quite new brand. They specialize in these very warm, vintage-inspired watches. So they did a kind of a dress watch, casual watch. They did a chronograph, and recently they did a very nice dive watch. So this is not the dive watch. This is one of the other two watches they did. But I really like how they really managed to bring some warmth and real vintage feeling into the watches. So let's try to open the box. Okay, so we get a manual, which is also a warranty card. Okay, very nice. So this very special box inside, as you can see, it's like cork. Is that the right word in English? It's cork. So again, Baltic Watches, vintage inspired watches. Really nice cork, and then you get this kind of leather on the underside. And let's see what the box holds in store. So what do we have here? We have some paper, not very interesting. Okay, so this is the bicompax vintage inspired chronograph, and I was actually able to choose the version I wanted. Very kindly of Baltic Watches to let me choose the version I wanted, and I opted for this black version with the gilded dial, so it really has a very strong vintage feeling. And I believe we have some plastic on the back side. What is very interesting with this watch, apart from a really well executed vintage style design, is definitely the movement, which I will get into just in a few minutes. Very nice domed kind of box crystal. It's a bicompax, which means it's a 2 subdial registry. It's a manual wound, so let me just try to wind it, and then we should have the running seconds at the 9 o'clock. Oh, and we do. And here you have a 30-minute counter, I believe, so let's try to start it. And now the chronograph is running. I really like the design. I really like the leather strap. It's kind of a modern but still vintage inspired leather strap, signed Baltic. And let's have a look at the movement. So look at this beautiful movement. So the very interesting thing with this movement is that it's actually a Chinese movement, but not quite a Chinese movement on the other hand, because actually the factory, I believe it's Seagull, they bought the old Venus machines. So Venus was a Swiss chronograph movement manufacturer, And when they went out of business, the Chinese, they actually bought all the machines, so they got all the right machines to actually continue making the same movement as a Swiss. So this is in fact a Swiss designed movement produced on Swiss machinery, but with produced in China. So you get a Chinese movement, of course, but you actually get a Swiss heritage movement, which is quite interesting. So look at how beautiful this movement is. It looks absolutely amazing. So I told Baltic Watches I would really prefer to have the see-through case back. If you really want the real vintage feeling, you can get it on with a solid case back, so you can't see the movement. But with this movement so beautifully made, so nicely decorated, I really just opted to have the movement visible. So Baltic Watches, stainless steel, Seagull. Yeah, there you have it. So this is the Seagull ST1901 movement, which is produced by Seagull, the big Chinese movement manufacturer and watchmaker, but it is in fact a Swiss movement. It's Swiss designed and it's produced on the Swiss Venus machines. Very interesting kind of story. So you actually, if you're a person you don't really like the Chinese movements, then you get something else with this movement, in my opinion. Look at the dial, very simple, so very beautifully vintage inspired. And then you stop the chronograph. Oh, and it's a snapback, it flies right into place. So no fancy pantsy with a date window or anything like that. Just a very simple bicompax running seconds, hour hands, minute hand, chronograph, very simple, 12 and 6. There you have it, bicompax, manually wound. Having ever only seen this watch in videos and on Instagram pictures and on Baltic Watches website, I must say that the feeling I got when I saw their watches was that they really had this warmth to it. It almost looks like a watch that you inherited from your grandfather or something like that. It looks like a watch from the 40s or 50s. And I must say, seeing it in real life, I must say it's a super warm watch. It has this beautiful warmth to it and it wears very comfortable. Also notice the drilled lock holes, so it's very easy to change between straps and it's very vintage inspired with the drilled lock holes. Also no fuss about the case, as you can see. It's brushed all around, which really is kind of an old school way of doing the cases. Today you have all sorts of finishing with brushing and polishing and stuff like that. Back in the days it was much more kind of primitive when they produced the watch cases. This is a 38mm diameter watch, and it wears perfectly on my 7.1 inch wrist, which is approximately 18 centimeters in circumference. So this watch retails at 649 euros on Baltic Watches. Remember, it's a French company based in Paris. On their website, I don't know if you can get any discounts, but have a look at the website. I will leave a link down below so you can have a look on their website. But I will definitely look much forward to wearing this watch, taking a lot of nice pictures and doing a full review. So stay tuned for the full review. As I said before, this is only a first impressions video, just to have a first impressions. When I unbox the watch, I will be getting much more into the details and the whole feeling of wearing this watch for many more days. I usually want to wear a watch 7 to 10 days before I can really give you a straight on review. But have a look at Baltic Watches website if you're interested in their watches, and have a look at the new dive watch. It looks absolutely amazing. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, remember to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this first impressions video of the bicompax chronograph watch from Baltic Watches. And also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I will be back with many more reviews. Thank you, bye.